Hello, Saskia here. I was recently at a gathering with fellow teachers and we had a bit of a giggle about Shavasana, which is that final resting pose at the end of class, and how sometimes as teachers, we or other teachers are like, shh, it has to be quiet, it's Shavasana, and it turns into this sort of sacred time where complete stillness needs to be present. And it's ironic in many ways because we can never ask the world to stop moving about us in order to cater to those moments of stillness when we come either into our meditation practice or we are taking our final resting pose in Shavasana. And I often have said and did say when we had live classes in studios that life will always go on around us. And it is not our job to stop life and say, stop, I'm meditating, everyone needs to be quiet. It's not possible. And that is the same with our Shavasana, with our restorative practices, however it is that we are taking those moments for ourselves to reclaim our energy and draw our senses inwards. It is in those moments where we unplug from the external world, regardless what is happening around us in our external world. And it is that ability to draw all of our senses and our energy inwards and create that serene state within, despite the fact if it is present outside. One of the examples I often share with my prenatals is that when we are in full labor and we are mid-contraction and we have the moment of stillness in those contractions, that when I was in labor myself, I closed my eyes and I dropped inwards. And because I have that meditation practice and many years of Shavasana in my system, in my memory banks of my mind, but also in the DNA of my body, in the stored memory of my body, that I was able to drop inwards and drop into that stillness and be very quiet and serene. And from that place of stillness, when that next wave of contraction appeared and surfaced, I could ride with it and not be fearful of it and not fight it. And that is what made that final transition in my labor and delivery palatable. That is what allowed me to be in the moment and not fight it and not be in fear and find that moment of stillness. And that is the same in life, because as we continue to practice being still, as we continue to show up in our meditation practice, as we continue to honor that resting pose at the end of our yoga asana practice called Shavasana, that we begin to remember how it is to drop into stillness, to begin to cultivate being still. We begin to cultivate being at home in that quiet, and to allow the physical body to be still, even though our physical mind may be chattering. That we can learn to disengage from our emotional charge to those thoughts and ideas, and we can begin to remove ourselves from it and still bear witness to that chatter, and yet lessen the investment in that discussion, in that internal dialogue, and how it enriches our lives. So I encourage you to embrace a daily meditation practice. Embrace your Shavasana practice if you have your own personal practice or when you take a class. Because these practices have so much benefit and so much, I want to say, power to them when we fully cultivate the practice of surrender to them. Because in that doing of that cultivation of the practice, in that visiting it over and over again, it builds up such a strength and wealth of knowledge within it. And with that, I'm going to let it rest there, because for each of us, that wealth of knowledge and that information is going to be different for each of us. And that is for you to discover for yourself. Share with me what it is that enriches your life. Share with me your insights of your meditation, your Shavasana, all of those moments where we come to stillness, and share with me what are the gems that you have witnessed that have come to you from this practice. I would love to hear it. Thank you. Share this with anyone you feel will benefit from this post, and join me in a class. Join me in a conversation. Namaste. Many blessings.